The Rays' losing streak is not one, not two, not three, but four. 4 straight games the Rays have taken an L.
It's not good, but don't freak out, okay? Don't freak out, people. But also, we're going to review that, and we've got some conspiracy theory time for you, so let's get started right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays, as well as all the other traditional podcasting platforms. You can also find us on social media, Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays, and email us anytime. We love the voice memos and just general comments, questions, concerns, hot takes, whatever it may be. Baseball, Rays related, whatever. LockedOnRays@gmail.com. Well, the Tampa Bay Rays lose again to the Philadelphia Phillies, this time by a score of 8-4. The Phillies are 46-39 on the year. The Rays are 57-32 on the year, as we mentioned in the open there. 4-game losing streak for the Tampa Bay Rays. But again, this team is still 25 games above 500. Context matters. I think we had said, even when the Rays were on that amazing historical trek of starting off the season with 13 consecutive W's, 13-0, we said there were going to be ups and downs. There were going to be ebbs and flows. There would probably be a 3, 4, 5, maybe 6-game losing streak mixed in over the course of a 162-game, 6-month season.
Yes, we did. And you guys can look back at the tape. We said, just know that it wasn't always going to be W's. I can see it in anti-social media, people kind of freaking out. Don't freak out. Does it suck? 100% does it suck. It sucks. But I know this is going to be tough to hear for some of you Rays fans. They're dead tired. It's so noticeable. They're running on fumes. They're doing the best they humanly can right now. I don't know if you see it the same way as I do, but looking at how they're playing, I can see, in cartoons when they go with like the gray smoke coming out of, the character. It's just like that, man. Like today, Randy Arozarena, Manuel Margot running the first, like they are putting every single effort that they have left, and they're still getting out when before they were safe, breaking up a double play or whatever.
Yes.
Or getting an infield hit. You don't see that anymore. And it's been a tough schedule. So honestly, the 4-game losing streak is not the greatest, but I just feel like they're just tired, man.
The AllStar Break can't come soon enough or fast enough for this team, and hopefully a lot of these guys get a well-earned and well-deserved rest aside from, and I'm not saying this is a concern, but it's kind of the bittersweet or the catch-22 of having multiple all-stars or representatives in the game, is because that is an exhausting week, an exhausting several days for Yandy, Randy, Shane. I don't even know if Shane's going. I mean, he's on the injured list, but
I would think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Wander as well. So there's a lot of, I would like to talk to a player. As great as the experience is, there is something to be said for, having a legit couple of days off. But yeah, with this game, and again, coming off the West Coast and then having to face a team that is really, really on fire right now, and the Phillies can't be easy either, even with a day off mixed in here and there. But kind of, not to say it's what you expect, but it was a bullpen day. So, and you've got a team that is really heating up, especially the likes of Alec Boehm and Bryson Stott and JT Realmuto and Brandon Marsh, the middle bottom of the order, if you will, there. So it started off with pretty much
Wait, before you keep going,
Yeah.
all of those names, and you didn't and you didn't mention Kyle Schwarber,
Yeah.
Bryce Harper, Trey Turner. So like,
No. I was saying like
No.
it's been those guys that have been kind of carrying the
but-
team, and the big names haven't even really turned it on and turned it loose yet.
That's exactly to your point. No, I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
those three guys that weren't even mentioned, and that's how good this lineup is. Like, it's a tank of a lineup. And now that they're getting hot, you put a bullpen day. It doesn't work out for Yanni and company today. I mean, they just got rocked, man. And BA said it around the third inning, I think, when Luke Raley went deep. By the way, great home run there by Luke. He said, BA, this is going to be one of those games that whoever's pitching staff, puts it in gear, that's who's going to win, which might sound like just a very basic thing to say. But in those back and forth games, there has to be a pitcher, there has to be a pitching staff that goes, enough is enough. We're stopping the bleeding here. And the Rays were not able to do that. It just kept paper cut. And Taijuan Walker just got stronger as the game went on.
Yeah, the Phillies collected 17 hits, if I recall. Yeah, everybody in that lineup got a hit outside of Kyle Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber went 0 for 6 with 2 strikeouts, and Zach Littell opening the game. He was hanging the ball. Yanni Chirinos was giving up some really loud contact. Luis Patino doing Luis Patino things, giving up runs and walks there, which I know people might be like, oh my gosh, thank God that Jalen Beeks has been optioned down. Well, I don't know how much better things are going to get or will get with Luis Patino. I think it's just sort of a zero-sum game with that swap out there. And I feel bad in a way for Patino. I know he's gotten hit and hammered, and there's been a lot of criticism levied his way, but devil's advocate, he is just 23 years old and is just finding himself. And again, I know he was rolling in Durham. He put together multiple scoreless outings, and these guys are professionals. I get that, but I would, with a guy like Luis Patino, I would love for him to get an opportunity to build up his confidence facing, I don't know, the Royals or the Athletics, or, getting some a weakling team like that, as opposed to a team that is playing with a ton of confidence right now.
It's putting the player in a position to succeed, which is what the Rays have preached since 2008. This wasn't it. This was like the best of the worst case scenarios. Like, hey, it's 6-4. Can you just kind of give us some couple innings here?
Yeah.
And no, they still rocked them for 2, and then it opened up. Like, it seems to me that the best case to put up a Luis Patino right now, if it's going to be against a lineup like the Phillies, it'll be when the game is 8-4.
Right.
Rather than 6-4. 6-4, it's gonna get open wide. It's like a Jalen Beeks thing. Like, it's mop up duty. It's like, hey, eat innings right now, either if you're winning or if you're losing.
Yeah. And I just get sort of bullpen envy. I got that when I was at the game on July 4th. I got it with tonight's game as well, seeing Jeff Hoffman and a day earlier remade, refined, refreshed Jose Alvarado and Craig Kimbrell. Like, this is the time of year where, I think I've mentioned this before, where I'm just picking and prodding at all the opposing bullpens in baseball and saying, can we get somebody? Can we get some guy who is lights out, on fire, veteran that can help us down the stretch run? Because I think that the Rays certainly need it with the situation that they're in right now. And going back to Luis Patino real quick, I know we've mentioned this before, but it's never too soon to talk about it, I guess, is when the verdict will officially be rang on the Blake Snell trade that allowed the Rays to get Luis Patino and allowed them to get Francisco Mejia, and then still waiting to see what type of contributions we'll get from Blake Hunt and Cole Wilcox. So that I'm still leaving the options open with that, but just wanted to put that in the back of everybody's heads as well. So.
If you need to make a determination on July 5th, 2023, I don't think it goes the Rays' way. I don't think that July 5th, 2023 is the right time to still say that. But yeah, and Blake Hunt is killing it right now. Friend of the program. He's awesome. He's doing well. Cole Wilcox is not doing so hot. So, it's pick and choose, sit and lose all your different crews because that's what's happening with this trade.
Yeah. Blake Snell, by the way, has a 3.03 ERA this season across 17 starts, 92 innings. So he's doing well. But of course, there were other
hashtag bring him back.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's ever happening in a million years. You will not see him in a Rays uniform. You're more likely to see Pat Burrell in a Rays uniform.
You're more likely to see Shohei Ohtani, man. Shohei Ohtani's coming, man. I can tell you.
No, it's crazy though. When we talk about Luis Patino, we go back to the date of that trade, and weren't we all so bullish on the idea that, man, a couple years from now, Patino is going to be our number 2, number 3. I mean, he's going to be, he's going to be a superstar. And of course, he hasn't turned out to be that as of now. So, all right. We have more to discuss, but first we have to tell you something very, very important. And that is this: Sleeper has become the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world, with over 5 million active users in 2022. They've also earned some of the highest levels of engagement per user in the industry. At Sleeper, it's not just about sports. It's about building personal connections and lasting memories. Sleeper Picks is real money product that connects friends over picks. Choose 2 to 8 of your favorite players from pregame, live, or even across different sports. Pick higher or lower than the predicted stats. Only on Sleeper can you get up to 100 times payouts. Share with your friends and get rewarded together. Use promo code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. All right, Ulises, you have a little surprise conspiracy theory?
I do. Okay, so first, I need a couple of things from you, Kevin, and from everybody who is listening on their favorite podcast platform and everybody who is watching on YouTube. Before, I need you to hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Help us reach more Rays fans like yourselves. I need an open mind, people. I need an open mind for this conspiracy theory, okay? 2, knowing full well this is Ulises being cheeky, okay? I'm being cheeky. Even in my cheekiness, however, I do feel like there is something here. Now, you can tell me you're crazy. This is just nothing. You can tell me, hey, I see the funny. Thank you for that. Or you can say, hey, I see the funny, and I think you're onto something. Those are the 3 camps. All right. So let's see where you lie.
I like the idea about being open-minded, because I know fans sometimes aren't very open-minded, but the Rays organization is very open-minded, and they don't, at least my understanding is, they will at least hear out any idea or scenario or thought from their fellow employees and staff members. So they try to hear all voices, if you will.
Well, let's see if you agree with this, or what camp you're in. So right now, if you're on YouTube, you can see that I have every lineup that the Rays have put out there this season. Every single lineup. You can watch this on YouTube, and it'll be way easier to track. I have highlighted every time Wander Franco and Randy Arozarena hit back-to-back. In the first 20 games that the Rays played in 2023, they were only playing back-to-back twice. Kevin Cash is trying to see what's working. The team is doing fantastic. Nothing to change, right? Then the next 8 games in a row, Wander Franco and Randy Arozarena are back-to-back. Okay? Out of those 8 games, by the way, they only lost 2. Just keep that in mind.
Yes.
In the next 26 games, so including those, the next 26 games going down, it happens 19 times where they're back-to-back. And in 4 games of those 26 games, it wasn't possible for them to actually go back-to-back because either Randy or Wander were not in the starting lineup. Okay? So it happened 19 times out of 26, but 4 of those 7 times, it wasn't even possible. So really, 3 times out of those next 26 games. Well, then comes the Toronto game, the 20-1 loss. It's here in yellow.
Mm-hmm.
They're going back-to-back, and as we know, it was reported by Mark Topkin and other outlets that there was some verbal spat between Randy and Wander. And if you notice that, the next 39 games, in the next 39 games the Rays have played, they have only been back-to-back in 6 of those 39 games. 6 times out of 39. Now, out of the 28 games in total that they have gone back-to-back, they have won 17 out of those 28 games. For those that are not math people, I will give you the winning percentage of that. That's a 607 winning percentage. If you don't know how good that is, I will tell you that a 607 winning percentage would be 3rd highest in all of MLB this year, behind the Atlanta Braves, who are at 671, and the Tampa Bay Rays at 640. So when they're back to back, they win. And they win at an enormous, really good rate. So, what is my conspiracy theory here, folks? This game, this verbal spat was huge. There's something about that, whatever happened, that it made Cash change his attitude of going back-to-back with these guys. I feel like the job of a manager is not to, should I squeeze play here? Should I bring that guy from the bullpen? Like, that's mostly already done before the game. They know the situations. They know what's going to happen most likely with the help of the front office. But the manager is a good manager when they manage people, when they can manage their stars, when they can manage those egos, because there are a lot of egos in a clubhouse, because they wouldn't have gotten to MLB if they weren't confident in themselves, right?
And I think I really like the track you're on, and you mentioned a couple things that I'd like you to go back to that, because I'm just looking along that spreadsheet there. That's awesome. Yeah. Manager of people and keeping a fun, loose, engaging clubhouse, communication skills. Those things are so, I don't want to say so much more important, but not given enough importance as we had a bad bullpen move here, or a bad lineup decision there, or a bad substitution over there. Like the day-to-day, the 21 hours that we don't see of on-field action is where Kevin Cash earns his money, earns his dough, if you will. And I think with the personalities and egos, that is something that I think the Rays have historically not had to deal with as much as maybe this is a situation where you're starting to see a little bit of that, where Wander Franco has an ego. I think we can all agree with that. Raynor Arozarena has an ego. I think we can all agree with that. I don't know if there's been many times in the Rays organization where you can say there have been personalities as big of this in the clubhouse at one time.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, you if you're an old OG Rays fan, I'm not gonna say anybody old, but an OG Rays fan, you remember that Carl Crawford and Pat Burrell basically just did not.
Yeah.
We're not friends, if to put it politely. They just did not like each other.
Right.
That's the last really big thing I remember in the clubhouse leaking out. Dude, that was 2010. Like, that's more than a decade ago. It happened so long ago that there's a kid in freshman year in high school this year that was born in that year. That's how long it's been. So that makes you feel old. So this is something. So again, am I being cheeky with it? Of course I am. You guys know me if you've listened to the pod long enough. I like being funny. I like that. Even in the cheekiness, though, I do think that there's something in it. You can't just look at all those lineups back to back and saying that it's working. You have a 607 winning percentage. Again, it's not only because of them being back to back. Of course, it's not. It could have been a tremendous pitching performance by McClanahan or Eflin or whoever. But that's what happens, right? I mean, that's usually when Longo's in the lineup, there are 40 and 20. You hear that all the time. Well, I can tell you that when Wander and Randy go back to back 2 and 3, they have a 607 winning percentage the Rays do. So again, I want you guys to have an open mind. Yes, this is being mostly cheeky, but I do think there's something to it. I don't know how you feel about it, Kevin.
I guess my question or my point would be, if this is such a large rift between Wander and Randy, why does Kevin Cash in the staff in dribs and drabs put them back to back in the order? Is it kind of feeling it out, or is it, oh my gosh, this matchup is, we can't afford not to have these guys back to back? Or it's, hey, we can do it every once in a while, but we can't have it being done every day like it was earlier on in the season?
I think it's a little bit of both. In fact, the Rays played 27 games in June. Okay, 27 games in June. They were only back to back in 3 games. 3 games out of 27 in June. I do feel like and this is where the analytical people are going to just puke from their ears because they don't like hearing this. But sometimes, even if the front office says this matchup is amazing, you got to have these 2 guys. I feel like when Kevin Cash is saying, like, dude, these guys do not want to be back to back. They don't. In the on deck circle, there's a lot of more contact. Like, they just want to have their space. Like, give them a breather. One goes. We saw it. For God's sakes, we saw it in Wander's game back. He hits a solo home run. Randy is in the on deck, and he literally takes a few steps back. So he creates more distance towards Wander, so he doesn't have to high five him. And what does Wander do? He doesn't break a sweat. He doesn't break the stride. He just keeps going. Like, he doesn't even know that Randy is right there. So I feel like, yes, maybe there are some matchups like, hey, Ober's going, Lopez is going, Blackburn. We got to have a Franco and a Arozarena there. Maybe.
Yeah.
But
I guess
it's more like, hey, are they okay now? Let's do this. Does it feel good? I think it's more like that.
Yeah, the other thing too, and maybe it's the emergence of guys like Luke Raley, where the coaching staff and the front office team say, okay, this isn't a fluke. What he and other guys are doing are real, so we can put him number 3rd in the order. We can move him up a notch here and there. Same thing with Josh Lowe and others as well. And then I guess so June they weren't back to back. What was the number? They were like back to back never, pretty much.
Out of 27 games, they were back to back in 3 games out of 27 in June.
That was also the same time thereabouts of the Brandon Lau injury. So maybe that throws a wrinkle into the idea in the sense of trying to find a way to, I guess, artificially lengthen out the lineup because you no longer have Brandon Lau in the equation. So we have to spread out Wander and Randy to some extent.
I like that. That's a tremendous devil's advocate. That's really good. Just to say though, Brandon Lau has been back for 2 games, and I know they put him 5th. No, they put him 5th and 6th. Well, actually 6th yesterday, 5th on Wednesday. Is there going to be a time where they're going to be feeling more comfortable with Brandon, where they can put him again in the 4th?
Yes.
Randy,
that's the other thing, because
back?
Early July, Brandon Lau may not be the same as late July or August or September Brandon Lau. So if he starts to heat up, or as Evan likes to say, go on a heater, then maybe that's a situation where, okay, Brandon Lau's close-ish enough to his normal self where we can go back to the Wander Randy back-to-back. But I don't dislike your idea and your hypothesis here. I think there really could be something to that. Without maybe there's somebody in the front office that can send us a private DM. If there's somebody who has some proprietary information and insight on this, I would love to hear some of it. We could be pulling at straws for sure, but and I don't hate it. Crazier things have happened.
We've kept that stuff, anonymous. So if you do want to give us something, we always keep that stuff anonymous. So yeah, that would be pretty cool. Again, open-mindedness, mostly cheeky. I do think there's some truth to it. At least some of it.
After the AllStar break, do you think this changes a little bit? Will the Rays go back to Wander, Randy back-to-back in the lineup? Maybe there's a kumbaya moment during those couple of days off in Seattle, all-stars together. Maybe there's a couple team memos and meetings, and they really try to get on the same page here. Or do you see this continuing to be, I don't want to say an issue, but this will be the situation for the remainder of 2023?
I hope they fix it, man. I think it's better for the team chemistry. They fix it. Maybe this is exactly what they need, is to get away from all the clubhouse noise. Just have a, honest heart-to-heart between them. Maybe have some fun. Maybe have some like actual mutual experiences that they're both going to be in the first All-Star. They might be sitting next to each other in the locker room, maybe. And Yandy kind of acts as a buffer there. Yandy and Randy had their stuff, and they don't seem to have anything anymore. So maybe Yandy can, be kind of that buffer between them. We don't know anything. Let's just hope that it does get fixed, because I think that team chemistry is a real thing. People that don't believe in team chemistry are probably have never actually worked at a workplace before. It's not great when you don't like your workers. It's your work coworkers. It's not great.
Right. It's huge. And again, like you said before, Ulises, this is a job. It's a fun job. It's a high paying job, but it is a job. It is a career at the end of the day. And despite them being professional athletes and being public figures and having fancy cars and nice homes and pretty women, there's still challenges interpersonally with others on the team and others in the organization that you like, you dislike, you hate, you love, you're maybe neutral about. So there's a lot of factors there. Now I will say the Rays, for the most part, and I think in comparison to a lot of other organizations, maybe not just in sports, but in all private organizations, they do such a good job of building and identifying and fostering whatever culture they're trying to foster. So I think there's something to be said for that. I know that just that open line of communication, that open door policy, and just kind of that welcoming atmosphere has gone a long way for them. So we'll see. I'm begging somebody in the Rays front office or somebody that works for the team, clubby, I don't care, somebody who overheard something as a concession worker or a parking attendant. We need some insight. We need some insight. Remain anonymous.
Yes.
We will not blast you. We will not dox you. We want to know more about this Wander Randy riff, if you will. And do we even know, I know we're going along here, do we even know what instigated that issue in the Blue Jays blowout? Was it just people in bad mood, somebody not playing well makes a comment?
Maybe there's a lackadaisical play, not like a hustle. Somebody said something to something. We don't know. And there was no video clip about it either. We asked Evan Klosky, and he said he didn't see it either. So,
and I wonder, I know I'm just flipping from the hip here, but Randy had been around. He had that 2020, and then you have Johnny come lately, Wander Franco. Randy becomes kind of an afterthought not an afterthought, but the attention is on Wander. He then gets $180+ million guaranteed. Where's Randy's pay? Where's his big fat contract? It's not to be seen as of yet. So just saying,
you could draw a million hypotheses.
Players know what every other player makes. And
yes,
Randy was the Babe Ruth of the 2020 postseason.
Yes, 100%. I don't know, man. It could be Randy land. Why is there not a Wanderland? Anything, man. Anything.
That actually rings off the tongue. In fact, I would think you would want Wanderland where Randy Land is, because Wander hit so many home runs oppo from the left side. Like, that would be a good Wanderland, I would think, of like, man, another bomb there. We saw it on the July 4th game. So
yeah, that's true. I don't know. I would not change Randy Land. But yeah, you guys let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
If you had fun with it, awesome. Tell us if you had fun with it. You don't believe in it. Tell us if you hated it. If you're that was not fun at all. I can't believe you wasted 22 minutes of my life with this conspiracy theory. How dare you? Hey, write that down in the comments too. We'll try to respond. Hopefully you're nice. And the third of all is, hey, you had fun with this and you kind of believe a little bit about it. That's okay.
Well, I had fun with it. It was a great idea. We love the conspiracy theories, and sometimes these conspiracy theories aren't just conspiracies. They actually have some merit and legitimacy to them. So, I don't know what I have to give to this person or persons that works in the Rays organization to give me a little nugget or two about Randy and Wander.
That'd be nice.
To write a book on it. All right. Hope you all enjoyed. Yep. Let us know your thoughts on this, and we'll go from there. In the meantime, thank you all for listening to us, making us your very first listen every single day. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.